Cubs are looking for some help this offseason, and could they be looking back to Japan for another ace? We're going to talk about one of those guys that is rumored to be on the Cubs' radar right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like and subscribe, thumbs up. Let's get this thing started with a big Go Cubs. What do you say, guys? Thank you for hanging out with us here on the Cubs Baseball channel. And I know that like the playoffs are rolling right now and you're watching, who the battle between the Phillies and the Mets and the Padres and the Dodgers, and then, moving on and, what's life going to be like in the National League Championship Series and all this. And the Cubs aren't there. And here we're still like all of us, there we go, still hanging on to 2016. And I'll never not love 2016, but boy, I'll tell you, life's a lot better when the Cubs are in the playoffs this time of year. And they're hoping to get back there. And one of the players that might help them, one of the positions that I said on a video last week that could make the Cubs a better team is starting pitching. Could you go out and get an ace starting pitcher? And I don't know that this guy's an ace, but one guy that you should keep an eye on, according to a lot of people around the game that understand Japanese baseball, is Tomoyuki Sugano. And Sugano is one of the best pitchers in Japan. And those guys are all coming to the United States now. And we saw it with Shota Imanaga last year and what he was able to accomplish. And I'm sure for the Cubs, they're thinking, hey, man, let's go back to that pipeline again. Now, it's just a little bit different, but not too much. Remember, Imanaga was 30. He wasn't 25 like Yamamoto, who ended up with the Dodgers, but he doesn't have to overpower guys to get outs. With Sugano, he is a right-hander, and as well as Imanaga did in Japan, this guy is a 2-time MVP and a 4-time ERA champ. And he was coming to the United States in 2020, but they never came to a posting agreement. So he went back to Japan. Last year, he ended up 15-3, and he had a 1.67 ERA. And what we've seen is that these guys, they really do translate from the Japanese league to the MLB league. And that's what he's probably saying. Hey, look, I'm 35, but I've had just an amazing career in Japan. The guy's got 136 wins and 75 losses and a career earned run average of 270. So, I mean, he's been just dynamite, and that's throughout his entire career. And then when you go to the NPB, his earned run average is 243. So, not that it really, you're looking at it and go, well, but he's been able to accomplish a lot over there. And for him coming to MLB and finishing out his career, or, just proving that he could come over here on a 1 or a 2-year deal and do something, is, I'm sure, what he's kind of aiming at. And for the Cubs, they want to get more pitching. Now, is this going to translate into an ace at the major league level? The experts are probably thinking more of a back end starter. And I feel like the Cubs need a front end starter. Now, would I not take Sugano? No, I think you can't have enough pitching. And if you get someone that can go out there, throw innings, get outs, then, why not? And I think that the contract that they're saying he probably would sign for is pretty economical. Like you might be able to get the guy for, $10 or $15 million. And somewhere in that range for a major league starter, if he goes out there and gets outs and helps you win, would be a good deal. So Sugano, to some of the experts, is heavily on the Cubs' radar. They were in Japan, Jed Hoyer scouting different players. Sugano being one of those guys. He's an interesting pitcher. because he's got a 6-pitch mix, and I love the guys that have the repertoire. I mean, remember when Yu Darvish was a Cub and he had all those different pitches, but a 2 and a 4-seam fastball, cutter, curveball, slider, and splitter. Splitter used to be a really big pitch in the major leagues. It kind of went away. You're seeing some guys bring that pitch back and accomplish what you want to accomplish with it. And that's swings and misses and strikeouts. So this is someone to keep an eye on. And you talk about him in Japan, Sugano, 2-time MVP, 4 ERA titles. He just knows how to get the job done. And when you start to think about where the Cubs have the flexibility, it's with the pitching, because I don't think they have a lot of flexibility with the position players, but they do with the pitching. Kyle Hendricks, I don't think they're going to re-sign him. I think we've seen his last game as a member of the Cubs, which is sad, but what a illustrious career that he had. But that frees up $16 million. I think the Cubs are going to have to be aggressive with the bullpen. And Jed Hoyer right now still has his job. Now, I'm not convinced that he'll have his job throughout the offseason. I could see the Cubs making a move here. He's in the last year of a deal. They haven't re-signed him. They haven't extended him. Now, he might come back next year. I don't think that I don't know what the decision's going to be. So I'm not saying that he's coming back or he's not. I'm just saying, been around this for a long time. And when you don't make the playoffs, you really don't keep your job very long if you're in the front office of a big market team that has resources. And that certainly would be the Cubs for me. So, 8th or 9th highest payroll, you look at last year, and I want to do a video on grading the front office, grading the players, what I think, but the Dansby Swanson deal, not looking like a great deal. And the guy signed for a long time. And I think that the success that the team hasn't had, you make the move for Craig Counsell, you end up with the exact same record that you had with David Ross. A lot of money spent there. Whose decision was that? Maybe bringing in Sugano is a move that the Cubs would feel comfortable with. You've seen that Hoyer is not afraid to sign the Japanese players, and those guys have delivered. I mean, when you really take a step back and look, Imanaga was the only Cubs All-Star, and he was really the biggest story on the team this year. Remember, he threw a 7-inning no-hitter, and instead of letting him go back out and get the last 2 out, 2 innings and have it, they used the bullpen to finish it up. I think he would have gotten there. And then Seiya Suzuki. I mean, is his defense great? No, but he can hit. At the beginning of the year before he got injured, he was, the best player on the team. I thought he had a chance if he was able to maintain that to compete for an MVP. I think Seiya Suzuki's probably going to be a DH in his future, but we'll see what happens. I mean, if Cody Bellinger resigns, opts in or whatever, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how the Cubs are going to build this roster. But I do think that this is a guy to keep an eye on, and Sugano makes a lot of sense financially and then in the rotation. And even though the Cubs have done a nice job with the starting pitching, it's been different guys. It hasn't been, it was because of injuries, and you could also use a right-hander. So keep an eye on Sugano, and we'll see what happens here. Just wanted to throw that out. And as the rumor mill cranks up, we'll be kind of giving you updates right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. So like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you guys again real soon. Go Cubs.